So, I know we already released an Origin this week, but yesterday I was bored, so I made another one. It's kind of like a spine sequel. There are a lot of thematic similarities between the two, but this one is a lot easier to use, while still being, in my opinion, just as rewarding and stylish. Now, just one more thing before we go over the Origin. If you came here from the cover video and are expecting a similarly well-rounded and balanced Origin, you may want to watch till the end of the video, especially if you're looking to add it to a server. It isn't like blatantly overpowered, but there are a couple ways to exploit it that you may want to be aware of, and I'll cover those towards the end, including how you can use this Origin to insta-kill a Warden. Alright, first we're going to go over two of the active powers, Seven Nails and Tug. With your active primary key, you can shoot out a nail. You can see down the bottom here that uses one of the nails in this bar. Then with your secondary key, you can tug on all nearby nails, which retrieves them to your bar and pulls you to their position. Now, this doesn't just tug on the closest nail, it tugs on all nearby nails, which means the more nails, the further you'll go. Since it tugs on all nails at the same time, it will move you in the average direction of all of your nails. So you can see if I put a nail into each side of this, I just get pulled forwards. You can not only shoot nails into blocks, but entities as well. If a nail hits an entity, it will remain in that entity for 5 seconds, displaying these smoke particles. You can then tug it out of the entity much like with blocks, although tugging an entity is twice as strong as tugging a block. After 5 seconds, if the nail has not been tugged out, it will be lost. Similarly, if you shoot an entity that already has a nail in it, the original nail will be lost, and tugging it will only retrieve one. To regain nails that you have lost, you can hold right-click with an arrow. And you have to sit through this. The third and final active ability is Slide. This one's a little bit confusing to explain, but I'll do my best. When you use Slide, any nearby airborne nails will be pulled towards other nails that are anchored into blocks or entities. As we can see, if I anchor a nail in this block, and then I shoot another nail, and then slide, the airborne nail gets pulled towards the anchored nail. Like mentioned, this does also work on entities, and since the nails are pulled very fast, this does a very high amount of damage. Think of it like this: when you use Slide, any nearby airborne nails will use Tug. If we use this example from earlier and line it up just right, we can see that they follow the same logic. Alright, while your brain cools down from that, let's cover the downsides, which are a lot more simple. The first one, loyalty. You can't use ranged weapons. Doesn't get much more simple than that. The second one's a little bit more complex, but not really. When you take 4 or more damage, there's a 25% chance that one of your nails will be destroyed. Falling down this hole does 4 damage, as we can see. Come on. Yeah, there's a 1 in 4 chance that they will snap. Now, the only complex part of this is that it doesn't matter how much your health goes down. It just matters how much damage you take. Like, as we can see, if I put on this entire set of netherite armor, even with feather falling, and I fall down here, you can see it still snapped. Because even though I didn't lose 4 health, I still took 4 damage. You may have been wondering why the previous downside was such a big deal. Like, what's so bad about losing nails, other than the fact that you gotta recharge them if you want to shoot things again? Well, the third downside, 7 chances, makes it so that the less nails you have, the more damage you take. You can see at full nails, that does 3 damage. Let's lose some nails. And now that's doing 4 damage. Go down to 1 nail, and that's doing double the original damage. If we go to 0 nails, you start to wither away. But losing nails isn't necessarily a bad thing. The less nails you have, the lighter you will be. You can see at full nails, just normal movement. If we go down to 3 nails, you start to move a bit faster in the air. 2 nails, you fall slower and move even faster. 1 nail, you jump higher and won't take full damage. Alright, that covers all of the Origin's powers. Now we can move on to the fun stuff. If you didn't catch any of that, totally understandable. Feel free to ask for clarification in the comments, or just watch that other part of the video again. I'm sure the algorithm would like that. Okay, look, I know I said we could do the fun stuff now, but there's one more boring thing I want to cover before we move on. If you think back to when I was talking about the Brittle Bones power, right? The one that makes it so when you take 4 or more damage, there's a chance one of your nails will snap. When I was talking about that, I talked about how it doesn't matter how much armor you have. It doesn't matter how much you're able to block the damage you take. It just matters how much base damage you take, right? There is one exception. So, Again, this does 3 damage. That's not enough to break a nail. But if I lose some nails, this will do more than 3 damage. And now that is considered enough to break a nail. So having low nails, to my knowledge, is the only damage modifier in the game that will affect whether or not the damage you take can break a nail. Okay, fun stuff now. Killing things. Killing things is fun. So I was talking earlier about how if you put a nail into an entity, you can then slide another nail into it, which does a lot of damage. But I'm now down 2 nails, and that's bad. So if we go back up to full nails, now if we put a nail into this, we can pull the other nail out. We can tug it out the moment it dies. So when an entity dies, if it has a nail in it, you can tug the nail out before it actually finishes dying. So let's do that again. We get full nails, slide a nail into it, and then tug it out. So now, instead of losing 2 nails, we've only lost 1 nail. But what if I don't want to lose any nails? Instead of shooting a nail into the entity and then sliding another nail into them, because that destroys the original nail, what you can do is you can put a nail behind the entity, and then slide a nail into it, and then pull both nails back. And now, I keep all my nails, and it does just as much damage to the entity. Okay, now for the really fun stuff that I teased at the start of the video. So if you think all the way back to the start, I was talking about how the more anchors you have, the further you will move when you tug, right? So just the 2, that's not that much. But if we add some more, we go a lot further. Well, consider that, like I said, sliding nails uses the exact same logic as tugging, right? And as some of you may know, the faster an arrow moves in Minecraft, the more damage it will do. So I'm sure you can see where this is going. If we just have the 2 here, I mean, it's a lot of damage, but it's not like that much damage, right? But, if we use 6, yeah, yeah. But Rolla, you say, that wasn't a Warden, that was a Golem. Yeah, don't worry, it gets better. So let's talk about excess nails. Say I shoot out a nail, right? I now have a free slot in my nail bar, so I can use one of these arrows to replace it. And now I have 7 nails in my bar, but there's another nail in the world. So 8 nails currently exist. Say I shoot out another nail, right? I only have 1 free slot, so if I tug, I can only tug 1 nail back. The way it sorts these is that older nails will be prioritized, but nails in entities will be prioritized over nails in blocks. But that's not important. What's important is the fact that we can have excess nails. And, unfortunately, after 60 seconds, nails in blocks will despawn. But, if you're familiar with ender pearl stasis chambers, you probably know that there is a way around that. If I shoot a nail into here, it's not in a block, so it won't despawn, but it will just sit here, and I can put more nails in here. So I'm sure you can all see where this is going. Hold please. Here it is. This is the Warden killing machine. We've got 20 nails in each of these bubble columns, and a lever here that will push blocks onto them whenever we want to use it. So let's summon in a Warden, prime it, and then... Yep. It works. And the one downside would be that, every time you put a nail in one of these, you've got to repurpose an arrow to get another one that takes 10 seconds every time. But as you just saw, we can just retract the blocks when we don't want to use it, and now they're back in the falling state, and now they won't despawn. And then whenever we want to use it, we can just push these down to prime it. I do hope you've enjoyed this increasingly deranged showcase, and thank you for watching to the end, because this is it's like almost a 10-minute long video. It's fucking long. But yeah, if you have any questions, concerns, suggestions, whatever, let me know in the comments. And like always, if you want to use this origin, you can find it in the data packs channel of the Origin Discord. Thank you for watching, and have fun with this one.